Hello, I'm Maurice Dimba. Welcome to this tutorial. It is a part 2 of an outdoor advertising billboard made of steel structural design model. Let's get started from where we left last time. I'll zoom closer, and from here we have 4 panels, and we need another 4 to make them 8. A reason why I separated them or made them into 4 parts is for ease of erection or installation. Once fabrications, all the parts have been fabricated, instead of installing a whole 12 meters by 10 meters is hectic. So I decided to split them into 4 compartments or 4 steel frameworks. But when erecting or replacing canvas for advertisement, it will take the whole span of 12 meters and 10 meters. You will not be able to advertise on one steel frame compartment and the other one. It won't be possible, because if you rent the whole 12 by 10 compartment or 12 by 10 face of one side of the steel board. But if you're capable, or the advertiser is capable of paying for both sides, it's upon him. Now let's get started here. Now the key is on how to reinforce this steel frame to the main column. That is the key part we are going to do today. How to reinforce this steel frame to main or primary column. Now we'll go straight to get started here. And if you take a look on this steel frame, we have so many steel here. Center to center we placed a meter, but we can do with 2 meters, which is okay. Now what we'll do, we'll get rid of this. We'll get rid of some steel here. We'll press Control and delete all this. We'll delete that. We'll delete that. Not really. We'll delete that one. Right click and delete. Select this. Right click and delete. Then select this. Right click and delete. Do the same thing this side. Click that. Right click and delete. Click on this. Right click and delete. Now on this side we will not bother a lot with it, because once we've done everything on this side, we'll just mirror. We'll just invoke a mirror command and everything will be mirrored on this side. So what we'll do, we'll just delete this end so we don't repeat whatever we've done several times. Now let me just delete all this. To delete, just select with the left button on the mouse, then right click to bring all these options where you can pick or invoke whichever command you want, either copy or move or delete. We want to delete all those. Now let me pick on this by pressing Control just to be a little bit faster. Then right click and come to delete. We remove that. Now if I switch back to my grid 1 or elevation 1, I'll be able to see how this is presenting itself. Now from here we want to copy this whole compartment or framework to this level of 6 meters. Remember that this is a requirement that any billboard must be 6 meters off the ground, or must have a 6 meter ground clearance. So we have provided that from 0 level to 6 meters. This is where the next frame or the advertising frame will end. At 6 meters, then it goes all the way to 10 meters. Remember, from this end, I'll just counter check with you here. Remember, from here, if I click that and I click here, up to here is 10 meters. Then from here, from this end to this end is 12 meters. So instead of making a one whole frame of 12 meters by 10 meters, it's easy to weld, but it will give you unresolvable problem while installing this panel to this height. Now the easiest way is to split it into 4 compartments, this framework and this one, so you will be able to mount them and be bolted as easy, and installation will be so fast and not hectic. Now let's switch back to isometric view, and remember the key is how to reinforce this. Now we'll start here right away. We'll come to steel beam, we'll come to steel. I'll snap on that spot, this end, and run all the way to the bottom end. We want to use an L profile to provide an option where we can bolt this to a reinforced, where we can bolt this to this primary column. This is not placing itself properly because our XYZ axis isn't properly placed. What I'll do, I'll just click on it. I'll click on it, right click and come to delete to remove it. I'll come to view here, then reorient my XYZ axis. I'll click on the work plane tool and click on this. I want to place my axis right there, XYZ axis. Then I'll go back to steel here. I'll pick steel beam and pick beam there. Then pick on the point where I want to start placing my beam, the starting point, and I want it to end right at the bottom here. We will weld this angled profile against this framework. We'll place it there, right there, then zoom out, come right here. Then once you've done that, we'll just click on it, then right click and come to move, pick on that corner, then place it here. Remember, this will be welded to this member. Then what we are going to do, we want to do the same thing on this end. Now what we can do, just right click and come to copy spatial, then come to mirror. We want to mirror this, but it won't mirror properly unless we reorient our XYZ axis. We'll come to view, work plane tool, then we place our XYZ plane right there. Then we come to, you right click and come to spatial copy, then come to mirror. Then we want to use an edge of this member as our mirror line from that spot and this spot, and snap there. The moment you see the angle is changing here to 180, just go ahead and click copy, right click and go to OK by giving it an OK. Right click by selecting it, then pick move. We want to pick it from here, from that corner, and move it all the way to this end. We'll snap on that spot, right click and give it an OK. Now we want to weld this, to this. We'll come to applications and component here, just click here on applications and component. This dialog box will come up, and on this space just type weld. A weld macro will be provided to you, a stanchion weld, numerically named as 85. You can pick that, then we'll weld this to this. That will weld it to that. Let's wait and see. That has been welded but not welded properly. Now we weld that to that, or you can weld this to this. Perfect. Let's check down there whether everything is right. Then we'll do the same thing here. We'll weld this to this. Perfect. Now this has been welded to this, and this will be mounted onto a support from this main column, and will be bolted to these 2 compartments or framework. Now click on empty screen, right click and come to redraw to remove all those remains of weld or symbol, and active, to remove that active symbol of a macro. Now if you turn this, you'll be able to see this has been welded to that compartment. Now what we want to do, we want to copy everything, but before we do that, we want to place a steel member that will be running from the midpoint to that end. Let's do that by first of all locating the midpoint of this steel member, and let's check it first. Prior to doing that, we'll come to edit and come to points, and pick mid. We'll come to view. We want to rotate it to a point where we can be able to see all the points we intend to place our points. I'll close that. I'll come to points again here. Pick that and snap on that spot, and I'll run all the way to this spot. I'll press Ctrl 2 and be able to locate this spot here, right there. The reason why I'm doing that, I want to locate the midpoint for this member. And to go back, remember you press Ctrl 4, will take you back to a solid 3D representation, not a transparent. Now to do this, I'll come to that. I'll pick the point, then right click, come to copy. I want to copy this point from this end. I want to copy it from this point. I want to copy it from this location, any point from that spot, and take it all the way to this end. Take it all the way to that end. And if you turn this closely or keenly, you'll be able to see that we've transferred that point to this end. Now it's very simple. Now come to steel beam here, and just snap on this spot right there, and zoom out and run all the way to this end. Snap it here, right there. Now we want to change the size and the profile of this steel member. We change it to RHS, rectangular hollow section. First of all, I want to turn this, rotate this, press Ctrl R, then pick a point where you want to rotate this member about. Now I want to change the profile of this member. I'll double click, then the beam properties will come up because this is under beam. Then I'll come under general and click on that button under profile. Click on that, then the catalog. Now under this steel catalog that has been provided to us, we'll work with the RHS, a hollow section. I'll minimize that, then I'll come to rectangular hollow section. I'll click on that plus sign to give me a breakdown of various RHS profile. Now I'll pick this. I want to work with 80 by 40 by 3 millimeter thick. I'll pick on that. Then apply and accept that. Once you give it an OK, come here under beam properties, then click modify. Remember, we are using Tekla structure 2018, the latest version. Now positioning, it is the right position, but it is the orientation is wrong. Now what we'll do, we'll come and we'll just scroll down, not scrolling down. We'll come to position here and come to rotation. Under rotation, we'll change, we'll play around with this position until we get its appropriate position. We'll click either back is already there, either below, then try with clicking apply. But it has placed itself off the center. We want to the center of this member to match the center where we placed the to match the center of the main. The center of this member. I'll come back again, and under rotation, I'll click top and click modify. Click modify. It hasn't moved properly. I'll click top again and click it has not responded. I'll click below and click that. It has not responded. What we'll do again, click front and click that. It went back where it was before. So these are the options you play around with until it gets into the right position. We'll use depth and pick behind or front. It has gone beyond what we expected. We'll use middle. Middle is okay. Now after doing that, we'll switch back to Control R and pick a position where we intend to rotate this model about. Then zoom out, check whether what we've done is right. Perfect. Now the same thing will be done to this framework at this end. And to do that is simple. Just right click and come to copy. Under copy, we want to pick this appropriately. We want to pick it from this spot. We'll pick it from that spot and run all the way to this end. We must be very accurate with this. Perfect. That has been copied. That has been copied. Now the next is welding. We want to weld this to this. Let's try that if it will work for us. Then we want to weld this, want to weld that to that. Then again we want to weld this to this. We come to navigate and rotate with mouse, then we rotate about that spot for us to be able to see this spot, and we want to weld this to this. Perfect. Right click and redraw to remove all those remains of active commands for the macros we've used for welding. Now this is what we have for now, and remember we'll place some bracings here later on after we've reinforced our billboard properly. I'll close this. Once I've closed that, I'll select everything here, as simple as that. Press Control and pick on that and pick on that and pick on this. I'll switch back to my plan at 16 meters. At 16 meters, I'll go there later on. I'll switch back to grid 1 or elevation 1. I'll pick on that. Now our main aim is to copy this member to this height of 6 meters, which is the ground which is ground clearance. I'll right click and come to copy here. Then I'll pick it at a position that will be very accurate for us. I'll snap on that spot, then zoom out and locate a point here for level 6 for 6 meters above the ground level. Then having done that, I'll press Control again and select everything here. Pick on that, pick on that, pick on that, pick on that. I'll switch to isometric view. I'm not able to see the other parts. I'll pick on that, I'll pick on this. I'll just select that. So once everything has been selected, make sure you don't copy the grid. Grid should not be copied, or it shouldn't be copied. Now we'll switch back to this height of 16 meters. We want to mirror this, and prior to doing that, make sure your XYZ axis is in appropriate position. We'll come to view, and over here we come to our work plane tool. Then we'll shift and place our work plane tool down here. Click there, right click and interrupt just to exit from that work plane tool command. Then still this selection is still active. We'll right click and come to special copy. Under special copy, we'll come to mirror. Then we'll pick this point and this point as our mirror line. Then snap right there. Then invoke a copy command right there. Let's wait for the result. it has been done. Click expand, then come here and click OK. Then switch back to isometric view for you to be able to see, or for you to see what you've done, whether it is accurate or need some slight rework. It's perfect. Click, right click and redraw to remove those remains of copy command. Now this is what we have now. Now if you switch back to elevation 1 or grid 1, this is what you'll be able to see. Let's refresh again. Let's redraw. This is what you'll be able to see from 0 level to 6 meter high. This is the ground clearance. That is the standard required for billboard to be off the ground 6 meters. Now this reinforcement will be we will place later on. Let's still work on the reinforcement of the steel frame. Let's switch back to isometric view, and we want to place our couplet. To place that, we'll just come under applications and end component here, this button here, and we'll just press cap. Then this couplet will come, couplet detail macro will come. Then the moment you invoke that command, select the column you want to place the couplet on, pick on it, then pick on the position you want to place it on the center. It will appear on that spot. There it is. Now we'll close this. We'll double click on this, on that couplet, because we don't want a square couplet. We need a circular couplet because our column is cylindrical. We'll close this. I'll zoom out and place this in a position where I'll be able to see clearly. Now from under this couplet detail dialog box, I'll come under picture and go straight to that drop down arrow. I'll be presented with 3 options. Do I need the rectangular or circular? I mean, there are 2 options: rectangular, square, and circular. I'll pick circular because my column is circular or cylindrical. I'll come here and click modify, and prior to doing that, I want to change the thickness of my plate. I want 16 millimeter. That's all. I don't need this dimension because a circular measurement is just one, either radius or diameter. I'll pick that, click modify, and click OK. Right click and interrupt just to exit from that command. And we want to remove this symbol. Remember, this green symbol means the connection is perfect, and shows the macro is active. And to remove that sign of active command of or active macro, just left click on empty screen, then right click, then come to redraw. You will refresh your screen, and those signs will disappear. Then we'll rotate this by going to navigate and pick and rotate with mouse, then press your left button on the mouse, and you'll be able to rotate this comfortably. We've done that. Let's switch back to a plan of 16 meter high. We'll refresh this. Again, we will refresh that. We want to start reinforcing our steel, our steel frame. And remember, also in the midpoint here, we want to place an angled profile. Now what we'll do prior to placing this reinforcement or supporting members to our canvas steel framework, we'll switch back to isometric again. We'll switch back to our isometric. Then we'll reorient our XYZ axis. We'll place it here. We'll place it here, somewhere here. Place it there. we'll place it there. From there, we want to place this at the midpoint of this framework. It is simple. We'll come to midpoint here, pick online, then we want to locate a midpoint from this end, that end, to this end, right there, and close that. Our midpoint is there. And what we'll do, we'll just copy one of these. We will not copy that. We'll come straight to steel here and come to steel beam and pick on that. We will copy because we don't want to have a repetition of what we've done several times. We'll pick on this. We'll pick on that. Then come and copy it here. Come and copy it there. We'll right click. It hasn't gone deep because it has a welding that is clashing with some of our steel profile. We'll come here, right click, come there and check. We want to check this measurement, interrupt that. We want to check on this measurement. Let's click on that. You'll be able to see this is 49. This is 4890. 4890. We'll come to steel beam right there and snap right here and locate it down here and type 4890 and we enter on the keyboard. That is not right. The position is not right. We'll undo that. Click on that and delete. We'll come to edit. We'll come to edit points. We'll come to any position and snap on that spot and snap on this spot. Then snap down here. Try rotate this to see whether your points are located in appropriate position. This is accurate and we can just place that member right there. We'll come to steel beam, from that spot to this spot, 4890. Then you enter on the keyboard. Then we'll change this member to an L profile. Under beam properties, after double clicking on this member, click on that button under beam properties. You will be presented with a steel catalog where you will be able to select on the appropriate steel profile and size. Now we'll come to L profile or L profiles. Under L profiles, we'll come to RSA. RSA will go to 100 by 65 by 8 millimeter thick. I'll go ahead and apply and give it an OK. After doing that, come here and modify under beam properties, just like that. Now here we'll play around with it by rotating it to a position where we will be able to link it with the main supporting member. Here we want to weld it against this member running all the way to the bottom end. It is simple. What we'll do, we'll right click and come to move, pick it from this spot and bring it here. Perfect. Or from here we can just double click on it and reorient it under rotation. Here we'll come to rotation and click back and change that. It won't be the best way to present that. Just click undo and want that to be welded on that spot. Perfect. Perfect. We want to copy the same thing this end. just click copy. Just right click and come to copy. We want to copy it from this spot, from that spot, and bring it all the way to this end, all the way to that end. Right click and click interrupt. It has been copied, and we want to do the same thing. Just press Ctrl and pick that, pick copy, and we can copy it from this spot, from that spot, going down here. Place it here. Just zoom closer, and you can place it there. Right click and interrupt. Here they are, or here it is. Now we want to mirror this on this end. Make sure you select that and that. Then we switch back to our isometric, our plan view at 16 meters, and click on that. Key step is change the orientation of our XYZ axis. We'll place it there. Right click and come to interrupt. Then right click and come to special copy and click mirror. We want to use this spot and this spot as our mirror line. Click on that, then come to copy and give it an OK. Click expand and give it an OK right there. Now we can switch back to our isometric view just to check on what we've done. Come to navigate, rotate with mouse, and check that. It has been copied here, down here. It has been copied here. And remember, this has to be welded. All of them must be welded. Must be welded. Then that will be done later on. The key part, we want to reinforce this to our primary column. Now we'll go back to window. We'll switch back to a plan at 16 meters high. Then we'll come to steel. We'll come to steel beam. We want to start placing our member from that spot, going that way to that end. We can place it there. We can place it there. And also we can come here and snap right at the middle there and place it here. Perfect. Now this will be mirrored at the other end. This one will be mirrored at the other end. Now let me switch back to isometric view right there. Then we see how we will work on this. Click on view, navigate, and turn this round like that. Now if you take a look, they have been placed properly, but the steel profile is not appropriate, is not right, or is not the best choice for reinforcing all these panels. Steel frame. We'll change this by double clicking, and after double clicking on this beam properties will present itself, or will appear on the screen. From here you'll go straight to general. Under general, come to this button under profile, then click on that. You'll be presented with the steel catalog dialog box. Now from this steel catalog, we want to change this to universal beam. Now we'll minimize this, then go to I beams or I profiles. Just scroll up, then we'll click this plus sign under I profiles. Now under I profiles, we have several steel sections. We have all HAU, jumbo sections, we have RSJ, we have universal beam. And the universal beam is what we intend to use. We'll click that plus sign. Then we'll go all the way down and pick 3 or 5. And make sure if the steel profile or the steel members you're using, it is available. It is available in the local hardwares or steel retailers or wholesalers. Now I'll pick on this. I'll pick on that and apply that and give it an OK. Then pick on modify. It has placed itself, but the orientation is wrong. Come under position and pick rotation. Give it a rotation of your choice, as long as it is a position that it will help you or it will make ease. It will be so easy for you to make a connection or to create connections to the panel, to the steel frame. I'll come here again under rotation Under rotation, it's okay. Now I'll come to depth here and click behind and see how it is positioning itself. I'll do the same thing here. I'll double click on this and change this. Double click on that, then come under beam properties here, or steel beam, then click on that under profile. Then under profile, this steel catalog will come up. From here you'll be able to select whichever steel member you want, as long as it matches the standards required for a particular structure. Now I'll minimize this and go to eye profiles, because that is what I want to use. Now I'll come to a universal beam, UBS, and pick that size 305. Then I'll pick the first one. The moment you click that, apply here and give it an OK by pressing OK. Then come here, modify. Then do the same thing, reorient the position of this member. Come under position and give it below. Right there, it has positioned itself appropriately, but it's not the end of that. The end of that. Come to depth, then come to behind, then click on OK. Perfect. Now from here, we want to offset these two members by 200 millimeter. We'll right click, then we'll check on our XYZ axis. The Z axis pointing upward. Now we want it's pointing upward, but our these steel members want to move down, so our measurement will be prefixed with a negative sign. Now I'll come to copy spatial, and the copy spatial I'll come to linear. The moment you click linear, this copy linear properties will come up. Then we have two axis, I mean 3 axes here. We have X, Y, Z axis, and we want to use the Z axis. Where do we want to move? We want to move down, but the Z axis is pointing up. Now we have to prefix this 200 with a negative sign. How many do we want? We want 1 to be copied. We'll go ahead and click copy and click that. Right click, and if you don't need this, we would have even used a move special command. Now what we'll do, just right click and come here and delete this. Perfect. Remember all the time to save your work. It's very paramount. Now come to navigate, come to rotation, or rotate with mouse, then pick a position where you want to rotate this model about. I want to pick this position. I'll pick that, then press my left button on the mouse and hold. I'll be able to turn this comfortably. There we are now. As simple as that. Now let's start reinforcing this. I'll switch back to my plan at 16 meters, and I want to trim off this. And to trim this is very simple. Come to edit. Under edit, we want to locate some points here that will help us trim off those parts. I'll come to any position here and I'll snap on that spot and come all the way and snap here. Once I've done that, I'll come under edit and invoke these commands. I want to cut by line. I'll pick on that, then I'll pick, just read down here, select the object to be cut. I want to cut this. I want to use this line from there to this end, and I want to pick the side to remove. I want to remove that side. That has been removed for us. Perfectly removed. Now what I'll do again, I'll come to isometric view and switch back to my isometric view. Now there is an extension of this member protruding inside this CHS, and we don't want to use that extension. We want to trim it off. We'll come to view and come to rotate, and we want to rotate this to a position that we'll be able to see that the exact length of protrusion into our main column. I'll press Ctrl 2, and if you place your cursor, you'll be able to see that the extension of the protrusion of this part. It's simple, just click on it. You can either click on this end and drag it and make sure you are so accurate, and just place it outside there if you could be accurate as that. Or you can just double click on it. You can click on it, then click on that measurement. Then we want to adjust it. We want to chop off 500 millimeter out of it and enter, and that it is adjusting in the opposite direction. We'll undo that and we'll use that click and drag option, and make sure you make sure you're accurate while doing that, and come here and do the same thing here. I'll come here and do the same thing. Just turn this in a position that I'll be able to see whatever I'm doing accurately. I'll click on this, then click on that and press left button on the mouse and make sure you run along that line. Perfect. Now come to rotate this using mouse. That's gone beyond what we were expected of us to do, and do that. But you can try this by adjusting this measurement if it will change to our requirement. It is moving in the opposite direction, and do that. Try that again and click on that. Select this member and type 500 and enter. It has moved. And do that. Click on it again and click on that direction. Click on that and we'll type 2500 or 2800. Enter on the screen. Then click on it again and click on that direction. Select that and click and type 2600 or 2700 and enter on our keyboard. Turn this round and see whether what you've done is right. Come to navigate here and rotate about that spot. It's still a small protrusion, but that can be neglected. We'll just weld it. We'll just weld it, then we'll go straight and press Ctrl 4 and come back to our previous presentation of our isometric view. Remember to save what you've done. Now from here we want to place let me first of all redraw to remove all this. Now from here we want to place an end plate here, and to place an end plate is quite simple, very simple. Want first of all align our XYZ axis with the way we've chopped off or we've trimmed off this part. We'll come to view, we'll come to workplane tool and place our workplane tool here, right there, and right click and click interrupt. Then come to steel, pick steel member or plate. We'll pick plate, there. Make sure you are seeing what you are doing clearly. Pick a plate, right click, snap on that end, rotate that, right click and snap on this end, come here, rotate this and rotate that and snap down here. Snap down here and come to your initial spot. Perfect. A plate has been created, but it is not in the right position. We'll double click on this just to make some adjustments. We want to change this plate, the measurements of this plate, but the approach we've given it will make it for us. It will be very difficult for us to make an end plate that will be connecting to these two L-shaped or L-profiled steel member. We'll cancel this, then select that member, right click and delete. We'll delete this plate. What we're going to use, you want to use another steel member and convert this to a plate. To do that is simple. We'll come to steel. We'll come to steel here, pick on steel right there, then snap right here, run all the way down here, right there. Once you've done that, we want to change these to plates. We'll double click on that, then these steel properties will come up. Under profile, we'll click on that. This will take us then this steel catalog will come up. Then we'll go straight to steel profiles. We'll go to plate profiles. Down here we have plate profiles. We'll pick on that. Then we'll go straight to plate. Go to plate PLT. Click on that. Once you've clicked on that, we want to change our dimensions from this end. We want a thickness of 16 millimeter, and we want 400, which we will adjust later on. Apply and accept. Apply and accept, and come here and click modify. You've seen our plate has been placed and the orientation is totally wrong. Now we'll come to position here, come to rotation and give it a back position, then click on that. It has positioned itself, but the width is wide. That one is rectifiable. We'll come here and change that to 300 and click modify. Close that. Now come to view, come to navigate, click on that and rotate that to this position that you'll be able to see it clearly. You'll be able to see this clearly. Click on that, change this to 200, change that to 200, and that's okay. That's okay. The way it is, it's okay. From there, we'll just close this, click on empty screen, then come to navigate. We want to rotate this and see whether it's well placed and aligning itself with these two L-shaped steel profiles. Now we want to weld this plate to this member. We'll come to applications and components, then under applications and components we'll just type weld. Under weld we'll pick stanchial weld. Want to weld this to this. Perfect. It has been welded properly. Now come to navigate, rotate with mouse, rotate about that spot and turn this round like that. Perfect. Now this plate has been welded to this beam, and this beam is attached to the primary beam, the primary column. Now we want to bolt this. We'll come to steel, we'll come to bolt, we'll pick this member and this member. press space bar, then we want to snap on that spot, then snap on this spot, just on a straight line. As long as it is on a straight line, right click and interrupt. We have our bolt there. Now we want to play around with this bolt to place its position, to place itself in the appropriate position. Just double click on that bolt. Once you've double clicked on that bolt, you will be presented with the dialog box of bolt, where you'll be able to change the position and the size of the bolt. Here it is the bolt. Now first of all, we want a washer here on the bolt. Now we don't want to use M20, we want M16 is okay for us. M16. Now we'll come down here and first of all check the axis. It is the Z axis. We want to offset this. We want how many? We want 2 of these. Click modify. Click modify. Zoom up. Note 2, we want maybe an offset of 100. An offset of 100. And how many they we need? 3 at 100. We can change that to 75 and click OK, modify. Still, we are still on that spot. I'll scroll down under this dialog box and come to this position. Now under X, I want an offset of 50 or 30 millimeter. I want an offset of that. Now again, I want an offset of 20 again. I'll click that. 50 will be okay. 50 will work best. That will work good, the best for us. Then we'll come back again under that. Then under Y axis. Under Y axis or plane, will feed here. On plane 20 or 30. On plane here negative 30. We'll see that just changed. Negative 30 or 35. Perfect. We'll close this. Once we've done that, we'll switch back to view, navigate and rotate this. We'll come here, right click and come to special copy, mirror. Then we want to mirror it from this spot, from that spot to this spot, and click copy. It has not copied itself properly because our mirror command has not done that properly. We'll just do a manual bolting here once again. We'll come to steel, we'll come to bolt, click that and that, then press space, snap on that spot, run all the way and snap on that spot. Right click on that, and remove this, make that 0 and click on that. Once you've done that, come to 40 here and try to adjust this to 50. Not right. Come here and change this to 30. Perfect. Close this, come to view, rotate this and see whether what we've done is right, but our plate is small. What we'll do, we'll double click on this plate. After double clicking on that plate, we'll come, after double clicking on the plate, we come here and add this, make this to 250. We'll change that to 250. After changing that to 250, we'll double click on this. We'll double click on the bolt here, and after double clicking on the bolt, we'll scroll down and change this to 20. Again, we'll change it to 10, make it 10. Do the same thing here, double click on that, come here and change this to 10. Perfect. This is now much better. Right click and redraw. Come to navigate and rotate this. Come to weld. Remember this has to be welded on that. This and that we welded. Now I'll come to navigate, come here, and I want to weld this to that. This member to the main column. Now under applications and components, I'll type round tube. Now on a round tube, I'll pick on this and I want to weld that to that. Perfect, it has been welded. I'll right click and redraw that. Once that has been done, I'll change the orientation of my XYZ axis to the default one. I'll come to view, I'll come to work plane tool, I'll just place it down here, right there. Then I'll click on this member, I'll press Control and click on those bolts and click on this plate. Now I'll right click and come to special copy linear. Then under Z axis, I'll feed 2 meters. 2 meters, I want 5 of them. 5 of them. I'll go ahead and click copy. I'll copy that, give it an OK, right click and exit that. Now from here down, if you check down here, you'll be able to see that this has gone all the way off the area we intend to place it. We'll close this. We'll come to navigate and rotate this. Now I'll pick on the bolts. I'll press Control and pick on that. I'll pick on the plate and pick on the beam. Then I'll right click and come to special. I'll come to move special and pick linear. Now under Z axis, I'll use Z axis. I'll feed 500. I want to move it up by 500 millimeter. I'll click move. Perfect, and give it an OK. Right click and come to navigate and rotate this. It has been copied up. Then click on empty screen, right click and click redraw to refresh everything. Click on that and click on that and turn this round. Now this side has been reinforced. Now we want to do the same thing on the other end. Now what we'll do, we just click on the bolts, click on this. We'll click on the bolts, press Control, click on the bolts, click on the plate, click on that. Now we want to switch back to a 16-meter plan view because we want to mirror this to this end. Now I'll right click and come to special copy and come to mirror, and I want to use this as my mirror line. I'll snap on that, then come here and click copy. I'll click OK, right click and come to isometric view, 3D, right click and redraw that. Click on empty screen and click again and come to redraw. If you zoom closer, you'll be able to see this has placed itself accurately, and we want to duplicate it or copy it to the rest of to the rest of the positions remaining to be reinforced. I'll click on the bolt and click on this bolt and click on that plate and click on this member. Then I'll right click and come to special copy and come to linear. Under linear, I'll pick on the Z axis. I'll go ahead and click copy and click OK. Then I'll come here. After clicking redraw, by left clicking on empty screen, then right click and go to redraw. Then I'll pick on the bolt, then press Control, pick on that, pick on plate, pick on that, right click and come to special move, linear, then give it an OK, move it up, right click, left click on empty screen, right click and redraw that. Come to navigate and rotate this. We've reinforced this side, we've reinforced this and this side. Remember, when doing installation, these members will come together, welded together with this primary column, and after connecting these together, this will just be lifted or roped up and just be bolted to this, and that one bolted on that, instead of carrying the whole 12 by 10 meter up. It will be a hectic job, and this one will be very, very much easy to install to this height of 16 meters. Now this side has been reinforced. Now we want to reinforce this side to this side, and this side to this beam. Now let's work on this beam first. We make sure everything's right and it is in the right place. Now first of all, let's weld this to this. It has been welded. Then click on empty screen, right click and come to redraw. That has been done. Then close this. We don't have anything to do with that. Come to navigate, pick, rotate with mouse and press your left button on the mouse and press hold, and you'll be able to turn this round comfortably like this. Perfect. Now another thing we want to do, we can't just give a 3 meter running its full span to that end to offer a reinforcement to this, or to offer a place where the bracings can be will be running from the one panel to the other end. This length is long. Now we want to cut it up to somewhere here, up to a meter. Then we will create a flange connection to the remaining distance. That will be properly well done or easy to transport once this has been welded to this, because once a meter has been welded to this main column and a flange connection or joining plates has been provided, this length can be joined here comfortably and can be transported without any problem. Now we want to shorten this, and to shorten that, we'll first of all check the length of this. The length of this is 2700. Now we want to cut off 1.7 meters. We'll click on this. We'll click on this member, then come here. We'll click on this member. First of all, we want to make this active. Click on that, and we want to change this to 1 meter. 1 meter, and on the screen, that is 1 meter. We've shortened that. Right click and redraw. Now that is 1 meter we've done, and we want that to run. We wanted a full 3 meters. The reason why we are shortening it to 2 meters, because this compartment is joined to the bottom one, and remember this will be welded to the main to this pipe permanently. So doing this is for ease of transportation and ease of installation. Next is come We'll double click on this first just to default on that steel profile member when we are creating a steel beam at this spot. I've done that. I'll click on empty screen to remove that selection. I'll come to steel, then come to steel beam, pick on that. Then I want to snap from this spot to this spot here, to that spot here. Remember, this the length of this beam is 1 meter, and we want 2.7. Now we'll go ahead and type 1.7, then enter on the screen. Right click and exit by pressing an interrupt button. Now it has defaulted on a plate, but no problem, this can be changed by double click on that. After double clicking, you will be prompted with the steel beam properties. Under this steel beam properties, we'll go straight to position. Not position, we'll go straight to general. Under general, we'll scroll down to profile. Under profile, just next to profile, there's a button, black button there. If you hover your cursor on top of that button, you'll be able to see a profile being indicated on top of that on top of that button. Just click on that. You will be prompted with a dialog box of steel catalog. You'll be prompted with a dialog box of steel catalog, which is this one. Then I'll minimize this. Then I'll go straight to eye profiles right here, and select a universal beam, and I'll pick on 305. I'll pick on that, the first one. Then I'll pick apply, then give it an OK. Come here and click modify. Then I'll come to rotation here and rotate this, change this to back. Click below, then turn that. It has changed itself properly. Now I'll right click and just move this physically. I'll snap on that position and just come here and just join this. I'll just join that, and we'll stop right now, and we'll continue in the next presentation. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Let's meet then, and bye bye.